Now, you've been a superheroine. You've been in like a stoner-driven cartoon series like Rick and Morty.
Yes.
How do you prepare for these different roles? Because I know, you have a repertoire of voices that you've come up with and some variations, twisting them around so they sound a little different. But where do you go from something like a DC superheroine to a stoner cartoon like that?
It's very character-driven instead of voice-driven.
Okay.
It's less about like what kind of voice am I going to bring to this project, and more about what does this character look like, and what is this character's personality. And the more information you get from the people making the cartoon, the better. If you get pictures, artwork of the character, that can kind of give you clues as far as, what kind of voice you come up with. Or if you get the whole script ahead of time. And sometimes we don't. Like sometimes we'll just go into the studio and we have to just be willing to sort of play and figure it out in the booth. But if you get the whole script ahead of time, that can also give you clues as far as, this is kind of, I think, what this character would sort of be sounding like. So it's kind of different depending on each project that you're working on.
Have they ever had to reanimate a character or redesign a character because the image that they had visually of it and your voice didn't look like they'd match?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't know if they've had to reanimate, but I think that the voice acting has sometimes influenced the animation. I know that, I was working on Legion of Superheroes years ago, and I actually did some facial expressions with the character, and there were a bunch of animators in the room, and they actually drew in my facial expressions when they animated the cartoon, which was really cool.
How does that feel when that happens?
It's kind of magical, It's I'm such a lover of cartoons as well, and I've loved cartoons since I was a kid. So when you get to be a part of the process, like from the beginning, and see it all come together, it's magic. It makes me feel like a 5-year-old.
But like when they did that with Legion of Superheroes, did your mom catch the episode and start nudging you or calling you up and going, "You do that. You've done that since you were 3 or whatever"?
She didn't on that one. My dad's pretty, I don't want to say hard to fool, although he is hard to fool because he can always pick me out. But he'll be like, "Oh my gosh, she even looks like you," or "Yeah, some of her mannerisms are kind of like you." We're doing the most recent season of Fairly Odd Parents right now for Nickelodeon, which is a blast.
Hasn't that been on a decade now?
It has. It's been around for, I think, 15 years, and they just introduced this new lead character this season, Chloe, and I'm playing Chloe, and they're taking a lot of my mannerisms and a lot of my geekiness and using it in the character. So you start seeing it a lot in the writing first. Like you start bringing things to the character, and then after a while you see, oh my gosh, they're starting to write more in that voice for the character. It's cool.
See, that sounds like a lot of fun. I only have one issue that's a downside with interviewing voice actors.
Uh-oh.
It's when I start watching the cartoons again, I'll be like, oh, that's Kari. Oh, that's Rob Paulson. Oh, that's Maurice LaMarche. That's, whomever.
It's true, right? And it's even worse for me because I really get to know those guys. And so, like I said, I'm a huge cartoon fan, so it makes it a lot harder to just watch them as a fan.
Right.
The more you work in the cartoon business.
Because you'll have it on in the background, and you're just like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
D. Bradley Baker did that voice somewhere else. Or...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally. But good for you, the fact that you can kind of like pick up on it and hear it and stuff. That does a lot.
Well, yeah, I have a good ear, so luckily for that. Like my friends make fun of me when we go to concerts because I'm the one with the earplugs. And they're like, "That's just stupid, you can't feel the music." And I was like, "Yeah, but I got to hear who I'm talking to tomorrow."
Exactly. I was going to say that you're going to be hearing the next day, which is a lot more than they're probably going to be able to say.
Right. That's why I don't have to crank up the volume on the TV.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, I read that both your parents are educators.
Yes, they have recently retired, but they were both school teachers for years and years and years.
Congratulations to them. I did that for a little while.
Oh my gosh, good for you. What age?
7th and 8th grade.
That was what my dad taught. God bless you, because that is a hard age.
You know, the kids were great.
I lasted as a substitute teacher one day.
Yeah, but you know what? The kids were great. It was the other teachers that were the problem.
Really?
Yeah, like the 13 and 14-year-olds, I expected to act like 13 and 14-year-olds. The 30 and 40-year-olds acted like 13 and 14-year-olds.
Oh, brother.
You know?
I'm nauseous for you.
It's all right. What subject did your folks teach? Because that has to have some influence on you.
Well, my mom was a first grade teacher,
okay,
and my dad was a science teacher, a middle school and junior high science teacher.
Wow.
So I don't know. I would say the biggest influence is that they were reading to me and teaching me to read at a really, really early age.
Mm-hmm.
And when people are asking me, you know, what advice do you have for people that want to be voice actors and everything, cold reading skills are huge.
Right.
Because a lot of times you don't get the script beforehand. You'll show up and get an 80-page script, or you'll show up and at an audition and they'll say, oh, you know, as long as you're here, why don't you read for this other character? And just the more comfortable you are with reading and being able to look over copy quickly, the better.
Oh, see, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. But so your dad taught science, your mom taught elementary school. So obviously education was a big push. You went to University of Kansas, I saw.
Yes. My goodness, you did your research.
I got to do a little bit of it. My cousin's wife actually went to University of Kansas on a golf scholarship.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, she was really good.
That's awesome.
I won't even play miniature golf with her.
She went on scholarship. You won't play miniature golf with her?
Nope.
Oh, come on.
By the third stroke, I'm frustrated. I want to throw the club into the lake, you know. But
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Do you know when she went?
I think she graduated 02, 03.
Okay, so we might have overlapped a little bit.
Maybe.
Huh. Anyway, very cool.
Yeah. So, you know, there's a little bit of a connection that we got right there, you know.
Yeah.
Kansas, education.
Yeah. I've got a big smile on my face. Like anytime actually I do have a superpower.
Oh.
My superpower is being able to find the one Kansas person in any crowd that I'm in. I'm literally not kidding. I have been in Australia and England and New Zealand and, you know, anywhere in the country, and the one other Kansas person will come up and find me in a crowd and we'll start talking. So
now we got to get you to play Supergirl.
Well, I've played her in the Lego world.
Okay, that was you in the Lego ones. Okay.
In the Lego, the Batman 3 game, I played Lego Supergirl in that. But yeah, I'm kind of on a Supergirl kick right now. Just the character, like the comic books and everything. So I would play her a lot more if they'd let me.
And the TV show's pretty good. I think Melissa Bonet, is that how you pronounce it? I don't know if she pronounces it French way or American way.
I'm not sure either. Do you like it? I haven't checked that one out yet.
I like it. You know, I'm a giant dork. Like if you saw me walking down the street, you're like, that guy looks mad. He probably works security. You start talking to me, I'll talk your ear off about ancient history. And then if you ask me about, like, my guilty pleasure, which is cryptozoology, you'll think I'm a lunatic.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually really cool.
Well, no, it's nuts because, like, I'll watch Ancient Aliens and and I used to teach history. So I'll watch it and there'll be just enough historical facts. You're like, yeah, that's right. And then the announcer comes on and you know when the crazy's coming because he'll sit there and go, is it possible that man had all this ancient technology or was it somewhere else? And then click, ancient astronaut theorists say yes. And then they go into the crazy.
This is insane because I literally was just talking last night with a friend of mine that was watching one of those history documentaries, and he said almost verbatim, it's really interesting, and they talk about the history, and then there's always this one point where they just click into the crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. So I feel like I'm having this intense deja vu right now.
well, your friend's right, and that's what makes the series fun.
That's right. You got to throw a little crazy in there just to keep it interesting.
Oh, you have to. Yeah. Like my friends make fun of me, like, you really believe this stuff, and I was like, they just said that the CIA ousted President Nixon as a cover-up because they didn't want him to find out about research of telekinetics. How can you take this seriously?
Yeah, nah. Not so much.
Right. It's fun to think about, but it goes a little far-fetched.
My conspiracy theories are not quite so finely honed.
Right.
As all of that.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Well, it happens. But here's the big question, all right? You come from a house of educators. Your father is a scientist, all right? Arts doesn't seem to be a big thrill for most people that are into science or engineering. When you come home and go, Dad, I'm going to do voices in cartoons, like, what's the reaction to that with a scientist father?
I've never been asked that question exactly that way, and that's really interesting. He was actually just my biggest supporter throughout my life, and I think that there were really artistic streaks in both of their personalities. My dad used to paint when he was much younger, and he's got a great singing voice, and we used to sing a lot, growing up in the house. And, my mom just oozes with personality. So it's not too much of a far stretch that the arts kind of, came to be something that I was really interested in. And luckily for me, they were very supportive, and, they were just like, as long as you make decent grades in school and keep up with the other things that you've got to do to be, a decent human being, then that's fine. You can go and make funny voices and act.
And get paid for it.
And thank God it worked out to where I got paid for it.
And that's what makes it more enjoyable, I assume. Like, you do this for free, but the paycheck doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt, but it's weird. I was on a podcast interview with a guy a few days ago, and when your passion becomes what pays your bills, it's a weird flip because you have to kind of just keep the passion for it. You got to keep the purity of, oh my gosh, I just love this and I enjoy doing this, and not turn it into, oh my gosh, this is what's going to keep my electricity bill going this month.
Right.
So yeah, it's an interesting, when you actually start making a living in the arts, it's a weird mind shift. Or it can be.
No, that does make sense, because us on the writing end, we do that as well. It's like, we want to write or we want to tell stories, and then, oh wait, no, I have to interview someone that's annoying or whatever, which was a couple of days ago. This is a perfectly fine conversation. Yeah.
I mean, you don't interview people that are amazing all the time, every day, every second?
Oh, if only. I interviewed a fighter once, and she fights for the UFC.
Like MMA or?
Yeah, MMA. She fights for the UFC now.
Okay.
And in 3.5 hours after the entire interview, I got 3/4 of a page written.
Wow.
Yeah. It was.
How is that possible?
One-word answers, virtually no elaboration. Would start a story and then pull back, and it's like, let it go. Just talk.
Wow. That will not be the issue here. You'll be like, okay, Kari, I get it. You can stop.
No, but that's what's fun about talking to voice actors, because you actually have something to say.
And we say a lot.
This is true.
We say a lot.
Now, since I mentioned that MMA fighter who was, not verbose in the least, Have you ever dealt with a casting director or a voice director that just said, and go, and would not give you any sort of in-depth direction on what they wanted for X character?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. A good voice director, it's like just a beautiful diamond. It's so valuable to have it. Because hopefully if you go in with a good director, they know the arc of the story. They have an idea of, what's going to happen 6 episodes down the line, and you may not. So you entrust them to kind of help you with the performance. But sometimes you get in situations where they just give you nothing, and you do the best you can. I mean, honestly, you make the best acting choices that you can, and your job is to make the clients happy. So if you lead the session and they seem to be relatively pleased with what happened, great, But that's the worst, when you go in and there's you want freedom. You love directors that trust you to bring acting choices and ideas into the recording session. I would rather have a director that tells me nothing than a director that micromanages every single line.
Right. But would you also let them to at least let you know where the story is going?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But if it came down to the worst option between the two, I would still take the one that gave me very little input than the one that micromanaged. Just because then you feel like you're sort of a talking monkey. Right. Just like I'm going to repeat whatever you say. But yeah, I mean, it's a collaborative process. So the more you can actually work with the director, the better. Right.
And you do a lot of anime as well with the dubbing from Japanese to English. Do you feel that's more difficult or easier than creating the character yourself? You listen for the 3 beats, bop, 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 up, match the flap.
Yeah, I started out in anime. I don't do as much of it these days, but I always try to keep one anime project going on because the fan base has been so good to me and really kind of was the first audience to really embrace what I was doing. But it is a very different process than recording the U.S. cartoons because on the plus side, you have all of the visuals. Right. So you get the nuance of the facial expression that the character is making. You get to hear the musical score, the dramatic music in the background that's already been orchestrated. You get to see how little your character is, how young your character is, all these clues that kind of help with the performance. But you're also locked into the timing of that original performance. So, if you have 2 seconds to say, I love you and I've always loved you and I'll never love anyone the way I've loved you, you can't do it. That may be what the original Japanese says, but when they dub it into English, you have 2 seconds. So you just have to say, I love you, something like that.
Right.
So,
and it doesn't necessarily work with the flow.
Right. Yeah. So your freedom to make choices is more limited than if you record the voices first and then they animate to you.
No, that makes sense. I've spoken with a couple of voice actors as well, and every one of them seems to have, not every one of them, but a lot of them seem to have a word that is just one that they have the most trouble pronouncing. It'll show up in the script, and they'll just look and go, oh, really? And it's 17 times, of course, in this 3-page read, and it's just that one word that they can't pronounce. What word is that for you? The one that you get tongue-tied with the most?
Nuclear.
Okay. See, I get tongue-tied with that one, too.
See, right? Yeah. Right? And the more tired I get, the more my Kansas accent comes out. Right. And it will always just kind of digress into nuclear.
Right. You end up sounding like former President Bush.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the director will say, Kari, can you nuclear? Nuclear. Yeah.
Well, then it's a good thing you're not on Jimmy Neutron.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
I'm curious. What were some other ones? I'm wondering what other people had trouble with.
Murderer was one.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. It's those words that are similar to that where, you get the pronunciation wrong and it's just all over and no one takes it seriously.
Right. Yeah. Nice.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question that I've never asked a voice actor before.
Oh, no. Okay.
Okay. Because everyone knows your voice for some reason, that know the industry knows your voice. You meet Tony the accountant, right? And you go on a first date with Tony the accountant.
Okay.
What do you tell Tony about yourself that's interesting but not related to work?
Oh, this is a good question. So, like, I'm not wanting to talk about work. I'm wanting to talk about other things.
Right. We want to know, Kari the person. I want to know, Tony the accountant wants to get to know Kari the person. He doesn't want to know about, he doesn't know yet that you are an actress.
Do I like Tony or do I want to get rid of Tony?
No, you're about, a date that should have been about an hour and 15 minutes is now turned into 2.5 hours.
Okay, good. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So I'm not going to lie. Okay,
Yeah.
great. There's some things outside of work that are things that I'm really kind of passionate about. Like I love travel.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do more of it. I took a solo trip to Ireland last year, and it was amazing. And I almost killed myself on the road a couple of times because it was my first time driving on the other side of the road in a foreign country. Like all of those stereotypes that you hear about Americans driving in a foreign country, I have lived to perpetuate that stereotype for another generation.
Okay.
It was so bad.
Good, I'm not the only one. So.
Well, yay! See, so it's tricky. It's really tricky, and especially when you're trying to navigate through cities and you're. Anyway, so traveling is something that I'm really passionate about. I love. There's a lot of. I'm into live music.
Okay.
I love live music. I love bluegrass. I love jazz. I am obsessed with hair bands. Like
You and I can hang out now.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I have my tickets to Hairband Nation this September, and I am practically peeing a little out of excitement.
The one at Irvine Meadows or the one in...
Yes!
Yeah, okay.
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh, my God, you totally know.
Of course I know. I told you we can hang out now. You're a total hair metal chick.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Oh, I'm so excited right now. I just want to throw this phone across the room.
Well, I think you and I are close in age. That's probably why.
Have I scared off Tony the accountant at this point? She's like, oh God.
You know what? Tony might be intrigued. I don't know. The travel might have intrigued Tony. The hairband would have actually tilted his head and going, huh, really?
Huh.
Yeah.
Man, I thought she was such a nice girl.
Right. Because Tony will sit there and go, well, there goes that concerto I was going to invite her to.
You know what? Tony's probably got some sort of S&M room of pain at his house, so I'm not apologizing for my hairband love at all. It took the interview to a really weird place, but that's okay.
All of a sudden, Tony is Dorian Gray. I get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is it? Christian Grey.
Is that what it is? I don't know.
Yeah.
I never read the book.
He's the
author
one from the book.
Yeah.
He's the one that's really old, but his soul is trapped in a painting.
Oh, that's the one. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you watch Penny Dreadful at all? Are you a Penny Dreadful fan?
I do not have the time to watch Penny Dreadful, unfortunately.
Okay. I love that show.
Okay.
And I've been waiting a week to see the series finale. It's ending. I'm so sad. but I've been waiting a week because a couple of other voice actors that I work with are also huge fans of the show, so we want to watch the last episode together.
Now, be honest. You're going to put it at mute on sometime and then dub the voices.
Oh my God, I love that idea. You know what? If there's a fan video that comes out with some dubbed voices, I would not completely write off that idea.
I want a story idea credit though.
Excellent. Done. Just make sure that I have the correct spelling of your name and you're in.
Yeah. That will definitely be easy. See, I like conversations that flow.
Yay, me too. Well, you got major points for the hairband thing too, so
thank you.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite hairband?
Probably Van Halen.
Not necessarily hair. Like hair bands are more like Warrant and Winger, like the two-hit wonders.
Touche.
Yeah.
That's true.
Although you get major brownie points for Van Halen.
Well, that depends on if you're,
Dave or Sammy?
Some people are like, exactly, and some people are really, really hardcore one way or the other.
Yeah.
So it's almost like stating your political affiliation. Like, I just have to kind of keep it quiet and just not say.
Right.
But as far as the hair rat.
Okay.
I did like a couple of, yeah.
Rat is a good choice. Journey has been played out a little too much as of late.
Touche. All right.
Yeah. But Journey is still good. I like Journey. I like Rat. That's good calls right there.
Little Cinderella. Yeah.
Yeah. Cinderella is definitely great.
Night songs. I mean, come on.
I saw Cinderella and Sebastian Bach together.
What?
Yeah.
When was this?
Last year at the OC Fair.
Had Sebastian Bach gone crazy?
Sebastian Bach was the opening act, which surprised me. But the guy's my height. He's about 6'4", and just running around on stage. And I was just like, all right, man. You're pushing 50. You got a bad liver, but you can still do it.
Dude, that is the thing that I'm most excited about with Hairband Nation, because it's just going to be guys pushing 60 in spandex.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, yes, the desperation and it's just going to be epic.
If you want to watch a band that virtually gave up on their look,
okay.
Deep Purple.
Deep Purple.
The first time I saw them.
Searching.
Oh yeah, the first time I saw them, they were dressed like the Beach Boys, but in like black Hawaiian shirts and slacks. So they kept the black motif, but it was like Hawaiian style.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that sort of thing. But yeah, you're gonna have way too much fun at Air Nation.
I'm so excited.
Who are you taking with you?
I'm going with a little group of friends,
nice.
And we've been exchanging probably the most hilarious emails. Like, I have laughed so hard at this thread that it's insane, because everybody's kind of like weighing in on their thoughts on how good or bad certain groups are going to be, and like stories from their past.
Right.
I can't really say much about the email thread, but it's been epic. It's been so freaking funny.
Which band has been made fun of the most?
I'm thinking, well, Vince Neil's taken some hits.
Oh, poor Vince.
And Slaughter has been slaughtered a little bit. And who else? Who was it that somebody was like, they're just not good anymore at all? I can't remember. But yeah, those are the two that come to mind.
Right. See, Slaughter has to go on at 4:00. That way they can play Up All Night by like 5:30. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's like such a long lineup that everybody's going to play like their one or two hits.
Right.
That's my hope.
Right. Which is exactly what Hair Nation is.
Right? That's exactly what it should be.
Yeah. Like Sebastian Bach even said it. He's like, dude, Skid Row followed the formula. We had our one heavy-hitting song, and then we had our power ballad.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
And that's going to be everybody.
Oh, I just can't wait.
So you're going to have a good time.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So hair metal is a guilty pleasure. You know,
yes.
Tony the accountant might get scared off with that. You did bring it up, Sammy or Dave?
You know, I'm going to alienate people, but Sammy, I like both.
Okay.
I like both, but Sammy caught me more at the impressionable time. So more of those hits were the ones that I kind of gravitated to as a young whippersnapper.
So 5150 and on.
But I do like some of I like Panama.
Right.
Panama. I've got some David Lee Roth in there, but yeah, the later stuff.
Hey, I'm on your side.
Okay, good.
And my cousin's on your side too, because he's more of a Van Hagar than a Van Halen guy.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the nickname that they were given with Van Hagar.
I'm not going to be completely run out of town.
No, not whatsoever. Yeah, and of course they use the Van Halen song in the first Power Rangers movie. So people that are going to be geeking out about the new Power Rangers can't say anything about Sammy.
Now, which one did they use?
Dream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I never saw the first Power Rangers movie. I'm ashamed to say.
Don't be.
Okay.
That gets me alienated.
That makes you feel a lot better. You're like, don't worry about it.
Yeah. That gets me alienated, but it's all right.
No judgment.
It's okay.
It's a safe space.
Right. There's no trigger warnings.
Right.
I hear that stuff all the time. I was like, there are 11-year-old girls with AK-47s defending their villages in Syria, and words bother you.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. You are definitely tail end of Gen X, I can tell.
You might be right.
Yeah.
You might be right. I'm gonna keep what little mystery I have alive.
Right. There you go. Don't worry, I won't tell anybody.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Spoken like a true sort of reporter, not really.
Oh no, I'm a reporter. I used to cover politics when I was getting my bachelor's degree in journalism.
Oh, where'd you get your bachelor's degree, by the way?
San Francisco State.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Are you a Northern California guy originally, or?
Yeah. My dad got transferred down to Southern California when I was about 12, and then I went back up for college, and then my folks were here, so I came back down.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Two totally different worlds. How do I put this nicely? Excuse my language. Two totally different types of being full of shit.
Aha.
Yeah. That's the difference between LA and San Francisco. They're both full of it. It's just different types of being full of it.
That, I think, is kind of the most brilliant description of it that I've heard. That's pretty much right on.
That master's degree paid off. Woo!
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Way to get educated.
There you go. Well, you're no dummy too. You went to college.
I did.
See?
I even graduated and stuff.
That kind of had to come with the territory with educator parents, though.
Well, I could have bucked the system and been like, no, I'm going to drop out, but I didn't. I didn't.
That was your little brother.
I got the degree. What's that?
I said that was your little brother.
No, I was the baby.
Oh, okay.
I was the baby.
So you're the baby.
Yeah.
So you're the one they gave up on. That's why you got to go into acting.
There you go.
Yeah.
Everything was really lax by the time I came around.
Right. You're old.
Whatever.
How many siblings do you have?
I'm the youngest of 5.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
All girls, mixed?
Mixed.
Okay. Yeah. Because I would ask you the one question I asked my friend who has 3 daughters.
Uh-oh.
Which, when my friend's third daughter was born, I would ask your father this: why does God hate you?
You mean why does God love you? Girls are, gosh.
The anxiety from 13 till marriage is every father's dread.
Dude, I can't speak from a father's perspective, but that's just, that's got to be tough.
Right.
I have no children, at least not the 2-legged kind.
Right.
And that's got to be rough.
You're not a cat lady, are you?
I am.
Okay.
I have one,
mm-hmm.
and she's sitting on my lap as we speak and looking very disdainful.
See, I thought you were more of a dog person. That was the vibe I was getting from you.
You know, I would love to get a dog. I would absolutely love to get a dog. I am finally in a situation now where I can get a dog.
Right.
And so I just haven't found the right dog.
Makes sense.
But my cat has been with me for a very, very long chunk of time.
Okay.
So she's a little fighter.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, do you have a home studio as well?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I just upgraded it, so it's pretty nice. It makes it a lot easier to work from home, so you don't have to go into the agent's office all the time and record stuff.
Right. Roll out
Very
in the
handy.
pajamas, go into the booth, record your audition, send it over.
That's right. Pour some coffee in the Wonder Woman mug, do the auditions, and then contemplate showering.
Okay, so you have a Wonder Woman mug, you voiced Starfire, you did Supergirl for the Lego series. Have you gotten into comics?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I used to read Wonder Woman graphic novels all the time as a kid, and since then, like I'm really into. I'm a huge fan of Gail Simone, so I've read her whole run on Birds of Prey and Batgirl, and really was into the X-Men. Let's see, what other ones do I read? Wonder Woman, of course.
Right.
And some Legion of Superheroes. I got kind of into that after the cartoon series, and yeah, those are kind of the main ones.
So you're more of a DC girl than a Marvel girl.
You know, I'm a little bit more DC, although love X-Men, and my friend Dan Slott writes Spider-Man, so he has hooked me up with a ton of Marvel comic books. So now I'm starting to sort of get more immersed into the Marvel side.
See, now you just scored even more brownie points for being friends with Dan.
Are you serious? Do you know him?
I've met Dan once, and one of my guys has interviewed him, and Dan's a real nice guy.
He is my favorite. He is just like this little teddy bear of geek love, and I just adore him.
There you go.
Yeah, I just saw him in Dallas, actually, and we had dinner together, and he's become a really good friend over the years, and yeah, I think very highly of him.
That's good. Yeah. See, but you have a foot in the comic world already, not just the animation stuff.
Right.
Would you ever consider writing your own comic at this point?
You know, if I came up with a cool enough idea, yeah, I'm not. I would not say no to that.
There you go. See, you're going to score major points with our crowd now.
Oh, good, cool.
Yeah. They're just going to sit there, oh my God, she's pretty, she's a blonde, she voiced one of these characters from this anime that I loved in 2003, and she wants to write a comic. Don't worry, I make fun of my own crowd too, because let's be honest, it's there for the taking.
Awesome.
And I fit the stereotype a little bit myself, so.
Well, we have to laugh at ourselves.
Absolutely.
I find people that don't laugh at themselves, I find them very boring.
Yes.
So I think a little self-deprecation can be very charming.
Yeah. The problem is when it goes a little too far and people are just like, wow, you're depressed, aren't you?
Right. Step back from the ledge, kid.
Right.
Just step back.
Put the razor blade and jack down.
That's right. Right. Totally. Oh man.
So,
Yeah.
all right, I have to ask your dream project, whether it's, yours from start to finish that you developed, or a character that you're eager to work on but haven't done yet.
At this point, it would be creating something.
Okay.
And collaborating with my friends. And that's still just really in the works, so I can't really, say, oh, it's this specifically. But yeah, the dream would be to just create something and be able to cast and work with my friends. Because that's, at the end of the day, that's what makes it fun is, collaboration.
Right. Which I've noticed with voice actors, you guys are far more giving than stage or on-screen actors.
Yeah, that's been my experience with it. Yeah, that's kind of been my experience.
Yeah. Like, you guys like each other.
For the most part, we generally like each other.
Right.
And I think people generally have a sense that there's enough to go around and that people are going to get the roles that are right for them, and you want to see other people succeed. So, yeah, 99% of the time, that's been my experience. And
that 1 other percent of the time, you end up on a series that runs 15 years with the dick that you don't like. I get it.
Yeah. As long as the check's clear.
Right. You're like, so long as I can record from home in my booth, I don't care.
Right. That's hysterical.
You just have to see him at the next anime convention or whatever. Speaking of which,
I've got about 10 minutes, and then I have to go to a Nickelodeon thing.
Perfect, because I only got about 5 minutes.
Yay! Perfect. We're on the same time schedule then. Yeah. I love it.
What are you doing for Nick, first of all, before I get into it?
Oh, you mean in general, or today's just a social thing?
Oh, okay. Because Nick's a fun place.
It is a really fun place. I love working there, and every time I go there, I feel like I'm 10 years old.
Right.
It's a very happy place to work.
I was disappointed, though, when I met one of the vice presidents at Nickelodeon, and I had asked, when is You Can't Do That on Television coming out on DVD? And he had never heard of the show.
What did he say?
He had never heard of the show.
That show.
Oh. It was, the show ran forever, and he didn't know the show. And I was just like...
Was he young?
No, he was, late 40s, early 50s.
Okay, maybe it just didn't hit him at that impressionable age then.
It didn't.
Yeah,
he didn't get slime. He wasn't eager to get slimed the way we were.
That was, man, for a span of time in my young days, getting slimed was like a dream. Like, I want to be on something where I get slimed.
Right. The locker jokes, the water, all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I'm with you.
Yeah. Now you said that excuse me. You said that a project would be ideal to work on something with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
If you could do something specific, would it be like a stage production? Would it be animation itself? What would you be looking forward to do with them? Or is it just any project so long as it involves them?
Either one, actually, because I started in stage. I was doing professional theater work in Kansas City before I moved out to LA.
Uh-huh.
So I really love stage work, and I would love to do more of it. So yeah, I'd be totally open to that. And the more easy general answer is, oh yeah, a cartoon series or a pilot. But yeah, getting back on stage would be pretty amazing.
That would be awesome. And last two things, because we both got to go. What's next for you, and where can we find you, social media wise?
Oh, yeah. So social media wise, I'm on Twitter
Okay.
at Kari Walgren.
Okay.
KariWahlgren. And I like Twitter. It's been a good way for me to actually hear from fans and to have them. I love it when they share their artwork. I love it when they send photos or questions. So I do try to interact there. I'm also on Instagram, and it's Kari_Walgren, all lowercase. And then I'm on Facebook, but with Facebook, I don't have a fan page set up quite yet.
Okay.
So it's just sending me a friend request on Facebook, and if you don't look like a serial killer, then I'll probably accept you.
Well, then I'll probably send you one just because you're entertaining.
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
Hopefully you don't look like a serial killer.
Well, my main picture is the Arabic letter Nun. My family's from the Middle East, so that whole Christian genocide thing. Oh, I'm used to it. But
I mean, that's really fascinating, though. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that whole
How
Christian
is that
genocide.
For you? Like,
it's I mean, my family's okay because almost everybody's here or Australia.
Okay.
But I talk to people and it's rough, and the hardest part is finding out. Like I just reviewed a documentary about the Assyrian minority in Syria, completely different ethnic group than Syrians, and the men just are emasculated. They feel they can't provide for their families. They feel they can't protect their families. Their ancestral homes where they've been for thousands of years, those villages, just doesn't feel theirs anymore. And it's hard. It's
Wow.
it's kind of like the Native Americans here, where it's like you're a stranger in your own homeland.
Man.
So it's kind of that situation.
Well, we need more voices like yours for good and bringing awareness, and all of that is so important. So rock on. That's, man, good for you for covering stuff.
Well, yeah, we'll do the documentaries and we'll do the book reviews and stuff like that. To go actually directly and cover politics, I can't do that with our site.
Well, but anything, like having positive voices out there and being able to put that face to it, mm-hmm. I think is important. So even if you're covering a comic book,
right?
That it's still, in my humble opinion, it still applies.
Okay.
So,
well, thank you for that. And real quick,
thank you. I'm going to step down off my soapbox.
Okay. Walgren, I assume, is an Irish name, and that's why the trip to Ireland was like an ancestral home visit. Swedish, okay.
Swedish, but I do have a little bit of Irish in me.
Okay.
I'm probably like maybe a quarter Irish, so that had something to do with it. But I've always just kind of been so enchanted by Ireland and always wanted to go and see it, and it really is as beautiful as I hoped.
Well, that's fantastic. Since you shared your bad driving experience with me, I will share mine with you, and I wasn't even driving. I was 15 years old in Australia, visiting my relatives, and I had completely forgotten they drive on the other side of the road.
Yes.
So my cousin and I are waiting for the bus, and I'm standing in the gutter, looking to the left, going, I can hear the damn thing, where is it? And I hear honking, and I'm still not getting it. All of a sudden, my cousin grabs me by the hood of my sweatshirt, pulls me back onto the curb, looks at me and goes, you're an idiot, aren't you? I just look at the bus as it pulls up from the right and go, today I am. So as you almost got into an car accident, I almost got hit by a bus.
Wow. Man.
Yeah.
Eesh. Yeah. I am nodding in horror and empathy.
Yes, but you can laugh because it's now, almost 20 years. Well, it's a little over 20 years later. I'm 38. I don't care. I'm a guy. I can say how old I am. I'm 38 years old.
Yeah, I love it. No. Way to go.
Yeah. So I'm 38. So at 15, 23 years later, it's funny.
You actually get more points that it was that long ago, because mine was only a year ago.
Oh.
So and I was not 15. So you actually started out making me feel better, and now you did not. I'm just giving you crap.
Mission complete. No, I'm kidding. But go have fun at Nickelodeon. And
well, what a pleasure! It was just so great to talk with you. And
pleasure.
Please find me on social media, and if I can, help you promote the interview after it's out, I'm happy to do so. Just
absolutely.
Send it to me and I'll retweet or whatever.
Sure. By the way, is this your cell so I can just text it to you, or?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay, so this is your cell. I'll text it to you. I'll send out a tweet in a minute saying thank you for the interview and everything else.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, RC, and thanks for being so entertaining.
Thank you.
It makes it easier for me when the interviewers are entertaining. So
well,
thanks.
If you make me comfortable enough to start cracking jokes, we're going to have a good time.
Excellent. I love it. If you tell me now that a 3.5 hour thing you only got 3/4 of a page, you're dead to me. And yeah.
No, 45 minutes, and we're going to rock this one. So.
Awesome.
All right.
I'm glad to hear it.
Take care.
Well, take care. I'll talk to you soon.
You got it. Bye.
Bye.